So I had someone in the Geek Crew send me an email, and they asked how they could make their own potting soil for container gardening that wasn't purchased and was very easily or readily available. And one of the things they had mentioned is they have access to a forest of some form that appears to have a substantial amount of leaf debris. So while it seems like common sense that you could use this, there are some little tidbits that you should navigate if you choose to go this route, because yes, it definitely would work, but within parameters, if you will. So you guys know I have done videos on leaf mold and how to make leaf mold, and that stuff is awesome. But Mother Nature, to an extent, makes her own leaf mold. And in the world of soil science, what we call this is the LFH layer. So it is a layer that's on top of the soil that includes what we call humus, and then the debris begins to get a little bit bigger as you move up in the soil profile, as we like to call it. So below that we have our A horizon, B horizon, C horizon. Sometimes we don't have a C horizon, we only have an A and a B. Sometimes we don't have a B, we only have an A. You guys kind of get the point. You probably don't care about that part of the soil science, but the LFH layer is a layer that is not fully decomposed and contains nutrients, but isn't always ideal for all plants. Now, if you choose to go this route where you want to source your own potting soil, or you want to make your own potting soil using this layer, step one is going to be removing the larger debris from the top. What you're aiming for is going to be that humus, that really fine material between the mineral soil and the chunkier leaves. Once you've separated this out, you're gonna notice there's gonna be lots of little bits and bobs in there, mostly like twigs, for example. And what you wanna do is you wanna screen this, and you want to make sure the particulate, like the leaf litter particulate, is going to be similar in size to each other. Now, the purpose for that is because plants need air in their system, their soil system, their containers, but you don't want too much, because too much can cause air pruning, or too much can also just result in not enough moisture holding capacity, which will be your nightmare come August or during the warmer months. So you want to try to get that material as fine as possible. If you go and you dig down that leaf litter layer and you're noticing it's not that fine, there isn't like a real humus layer, and it just seems to be larger leaf debris, if you will, I would actually go through the process of making that into a leaf mold first, and then revisiting it at a later time to use for potting soil. As well as, there isn't any forest out there where you have to be careful and not use the leaves from. Very common misconception that specific trees are harmful to plants. That's simply not the case when it comes to the leaf debris, particularly in a forest setting where you have varying types of species dropping the leaves down. You should be just fine. Don't mind me, I'm editing at the farm and I went snowmobiling, so I'm all sweaty and gross. But one thing I will say is, if you are worried about it, do a bioassays test. That will tell you if there is any allelopathic tendencies in the newfound container soil that you're using. So I think I have a video on this. I will try to find it. If I don't, then I definitely do need to make one. So yeah, check that out. Now, the leaf litter debris is going to have a lower pH, something similar to just a peat. And so therefore you would want to include lime in the mix. And this is like the norm ratio that you would use for peat, but I would experiment and see where it lands depending on what leaves you're dealing with. I don't think there's going to be one like cut and dry answer, because every leaf may hypothetically be slightly different depending on what level of decomposition it's at, what type of leaf it is, all that sort of fun stuff. Be your own garden scientist, experiment a little bit, see what you can find, and then obviously introduce lime as needed. I would start again with this ratio right here. Now, the other downfall to using an LFH layer from a forest is that the nutrient content in this section of your soil profile is pretty low. And by low, I mean it's very similar to a peat or a coconut coir. So therefore you may want to consider putting in up to 25% of a compost, or you could use like a synthetic slow release if you wanted to. It's totally up to you. I really don't care. Conventional organic, I'm completely unbiased as to which one you choose to go with. And that will help kind of alleviate the fact that it is devoid of nutrients. But I'd be interested to know, out of the Geek Crew, how many of you live near a forest or have that many leaves that you could find an LFH layer and actually utilize it for a container garden? Because for me personally, I don't have any land like that that would facilitate me making my own potting soil just from the soil itself. But I'd be interested to know what you guys, or where you guys are living, or how many of you could actually get this done. If you don't have a forest at your disposal, this video is how you can make leaf mold with leaves that you can borrow off of your neighbors, and by borrow I mean take, and that's what Google says you should watch. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye!